Hi, I'm George from Racing Clips and Picks. Welcome to a special episode of The Outlet. Today we're going to go over NASCAR's 2025 silly season, and we're going to give predictions and just our overall thoughts on what's going to happen in the NASCAR landscape over the next year. Okay, let's get started. Now, to start off, there's a lot going on, especially with SHR shutting down. A lot of cars are out there. It seems 3 of them have already been snapped up with 1 more floating around. The first team we're going to talk about is Trackhouse Racing. They got one of the SHR charters, so that one is going to be a toss-up between SVG or Zane Smith. It seems Suarez is still there until 2025. That's going to be a contract year for him, so he's safe for 2025. Our predictions, we're thinking, at least me, I'm thinking SVG gets it. He's running really well in Xfinity. I know he's not refined on ovals yet, but he's showing great, potential. He's getting laps in. I know at Iowa he crashed early, but that was just a war of attrition. But over on the overall season, he's been learning of each lap. He's not getting into trouble. He's finishing races. And I think he actually might be ready to take the step up. I think for that one, it's going to be depending on sponsorship and if they can make a deal to loan out Zane Smith. Now, to another team that's getting a charter from the SHR sale is 2311 Racing. I think it's pretty set in stone, just depending on, again, sponsorship. I think that's going to Corey Heim. It seems with Joe Gibbs and Toyota that they're trying to get him as much seat time in the different series to prepare for next year. So I think he goes there. A lot of people are saying, put him in JGR because Martin Truex is leaving, but I'll kind of touch on that later when we get to Joe Gibbs. But for now, I think 2311, I think they're going to run Corey Heim full time. And then just kind of a little bonus, I think, it's pretty obvious now, I think, with Martin Truex retiring. Denny Hamlin's already spoken about it, that he's going to run part-time. Pretty sure we're going to see him at the Daytona 500 in a 2311 car. And to the third team that's confirmed to have an SHR charter is Front Row Motorsports. Currently, they have Todd Gillen 38, and they have the 34 and 36 open. 34 is open after Michael McDowell announced his multi-year deal expire, so that opens up 2 cars over there. I think this is a toss-up, especially with the SHR stuff has just jumbled everything up because there's so many landing spots for those guys. In my opinion, I think it goes Noah Gragson and Josh Berry. Now, Josh Berry, that's going to be very sponsor-dependent. I think, he's probably been working on, ever since they announced, just working on something for next year. If he has a strong summer, I think he can build up something for when it's sponsorship time in the fall, and he can secure that seat at Front Row. Kind of as a backup plan, I think Front Row would also be looking at Riley Herbst because he has that sponsorship money guaranteed. With him and Noah, that'll put the team in a really great spot where they don't have to be dependent on anyone else. They can kind of, focus on just getting faster and getting better support from Ford. We're Racing, they're having a great season with this new this new RFK partnership. Really, Justin Haley's going to stay there. I don't think Brad's going anywhere soon. That'll be talk for probably next year's silly season. But yeah, you'll have, Justin Haley in the 51. The 15, again, depending on what happens to Josh Berry, I think Riley Herbst gets this one. He's been slated to do races for Rick Ware for this year. Had a really great debut, and again, just learning. He's showing great improvement in Xfinity. He has the money, he has the sponsorship. To get any seat he wants. But I think Rick Ware is gonna be a great place for him to go. There's low pressure. There's not a lot of expectations for him just to go out and win like he is right now, and what he's doing right now at SHR Xfinity. At Rick Ware, he can learn. And then in a year or two, after he kind of builds up his confidence and skill set, he can then move on to a bigger team. So I think the 15 goes to Riley Herbst. Next up, another Ford team, Wood Brothers Racing. This one at first I thought it was going to be Chase Briscoe. I still think it is, given how Ford has invested so much money in him, and Ford seems dedicated to him. They'll take him anywhere. They don't seem they want to lose him, which I don't really see why they are loving on him so much. They have some decent guys in the pipeline. I know no one's really cup ready in their pipeline yet. I think surprisingly, Cole Custer gets a seat. His dad, yeah, his dad Joe Custer, still has that Haas connection. They're still good on good terms where he'll have Haas sponsorship. So I think he comes back to the Cup Series finally after winning his Xfinity championship in the Wood Brothers 21. He has the Penske relationship there with Wood Brothers, so maybe a strong card. We can maybe finally see what Wood Brothers got, what they have right now. It may just kind of reflect, hey, Harrison Bird isn't that good, or it's going to show Penske has lost speed. That'll be very interesting to watch out, but I think it's going to be Cole Custer getting that seat. Next up, we're going to talk colleague racing. Chris Rice has been kind of speaking the past couple weeks, past couple months, talking about how the All Star car that they have is not really working out. They don't really want to be doing the All Star car. It doesn't really work. In Cup, it seems like with sponsorship. So I think this one may be a landing spot for SVG if Trackhouse can't get that the fourth charter. I think it goes to the 16. Kind of like another loan, kind of what they're doing this year with him at Collie, kind of what they're doing with Zane Smith at Spire. I think SVG would be a great spot there. It's a really close stint team. Chris Rice and Matt Collie, they just want to win. They're winners. They love winning. They want to win. Kind of same mentality SVG. It'll be a great low pressure environment for him. With him not going, if he goes straight into Trackhouse, there's gonna be pressure on him to win immediately at, of course, not just at road course, but everywhere else to run fast. I think at Colleague, he'll just be expected to win at road courses, but still be learning because Colleague has not been showing that speed lately on the ovals, in my opinion. Next up, we're going to talk about Joe Gibbs Racing. Of course, Martin Truex Jr. recently, actually this past weekend, announcing his retirement from full-time racing. He's still going to be doing some part-time races, kind of like Eric Almirola is doing right now. Like Xfinity, I think he might do some Cup races too for Martin Truex Jr. But that leaves the 19 car open at Joe Gibbs. At first, I was thinking Corey Heim, but looking back, him and Ty Gibbs have not had the best relationship as teammates. So I think Joe Gibbs does not want to throw those two youngsters back in a team together. Maybe when they're older, of course, that would be an option because they'll be more mature. But right now, putting two 20-something-year-olds in a top team like that when they obviously don't like each other would not be team beneficial. For me personally, I would want someone like Chandler Smith and Noah Gragson in this car. But from what reports are saying is Chase Briscoe, which is shocking to me. He hasn't really shown he deserves that, in my opinion. With the speed, I understand SHR has had some really slow cars these past 2 years, but I understand the experience arc from it. I guess I guess their thinking is he has the experience, but we can give him the speed, which I respect that. But in my opinion, I would say Chandler Smith would get it. But again, he does not have the backing that Briscoe has. With Mahindra, they recently said as soon as the SHR cell shutdown got announced, they said we're sticking with Briscoe. We're helping him find a seat for next year. So I think it'll be tough. It seems like Briscoe's getting that seat, so I guess I'll go with Briscoe. Now for the fourth and final SHR charter, it's still up in the air right now. It seems there's a couple teams negotiating, trying to get a hold of it. Maybe someone has it by now, but they haven't fully announced it yet. There's two teams in mind that I think would get it. I think it's a higher chance that RCR probably gets it. It seems Richard is hell bent on bringing this team back to its old glory. So I think it's most likely gonna be them, or maybe RFK if they can sneak some money, if they can get some money from Fenway or any sponsors or Ford. But we'll go over both We'll go over both scenarios. With RCR, I think it's obvious they would put Austin Hill in that car, even though he's fast. He just has to figure out not to let others get into his head and kind of learn how to work with others more. You're seeing him these restarts. He's just pushing guys in front of him out the way instead of working with them to help his position in the race. Like, he was pushing Sam Mayer when he's in third, like he's second row, pushing Sam Mayer who's in the first row, which slows them down completely. They get dropped down to 6. I know Hill was on better tires than for the repave at Iowa, but then he blew a tire. I honestly think if he just helped Mayer get to the lead and have clean air, that would not have happened to him. But, that's just my opinion. For RCR, yeah, just Austin Hill. For RFK, this may be a good place for Justin Haley. I don't think Keselowski wants to put a youngster in there yet. He's still kind of like, yeah, we have a couple wins, but he wants to bring back the powerhouse that Roush was, which I understand. I think it's a kind of a 3 is better than none type situation, or 3 is better than 2, because you have a rookie in there. Most of your resources are going to be getting him up to speed and not getting your cars up to speed. So for that, if they do get the charter, I think Justin Haley gets it. And then for that Rick Ware's place, I think there's going to put some Ford, maybe Priest, or just some other driver who has the money in that seat. So far, no other moves have been set. It seems everyone else is locked under contract. Penske's set. Hendrick is set. JTG is set. They're having a lot of turmoil with their ownership right now. I know they're having a lot of reshuffling, so I don't think they're in the mood for a charter. Junior Motorsports, I don't know what's going on there. I think they're waiting for this TV stuff to be settled out with the charters and all that between NASCAR and the teams, because they don't want to spend $50 million for a charter and get no return over the next 10 years on that. So I don't think they're getting one, unless NASCAR would just practically gift them that 4th charter, which then would be interesting. I know Junior, he wants to do it. He has the money, but he doesn't want to make a bad investment, which makes complete sense to me. So yeah, here's a recap of our predictions. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you would change, and we'll see you at the next episode. Have a great one, guys.